welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Nurse Lee, and on my channel I talk about nursing, beauty, and lifestyle. So if you're new to my channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. If you're not new, welcome back and thank you so much for joining me again. In this video, I'm going to be talking about 5 things I think you should know before becoming a registered nurse. So if you're interested in hearing these 5 things I am going to talk about, just go ahead and hit that subscribe button and keep watching. Nurse, if you're trying to consider becoming a registered nurse, then watch this video and I will share with you all, in my opinion, things I think you should know before becoming a registered nurse, and then that'll help you further think and make a decision as to whether or not you want to go ahead and pursue the career. So the first thing I want to talk about is in nursing, you have to follow orders. You have to follow nursing orders that are written by the provider. So nursing is more than just following those orders. When you see your orders written out by the provider, you have to review your orders and think critically before you carry out the orders. And, you know, being in nursing school, you already have that background of critical thinking because, you know, when you're taking your exams, you're critically thinking to achieve the right answer to pass your exam. And from my experience, nursing school exams, you really have to critically think because more than one answer can be correct. So then you have to really break it down and apply it. It's being able to tell if your patient is declining through like your observation or your assessments. People think like, oh yeah, becoming a nurse should be easy because all I have to do is follow the provider's orders, but you have to be on alert. You have to really be paying attention to your patient and know your patient's baseline. And when I say baseline, I mean like when you first walk into the shift, how was your patient presenting? And then as the shift goes on, has your patient changed? Is your patient declining? If your patient is declining, then you have to take steps to intervene and care for your patient and get your patient the help they need to get better. With that being said, it's more than just treating your patients medically. You have to treat your whole patient. It's not just medically, it's just getting to know your patient, being able to understand your patient, building a relationship with your patient so that they can be able to trust you as their nurse to take care of them. So it's not just, okay, let me pass medications, give my patients their medications and just sit down and be mind my business or whatever the case may be. It is, okay, this is my patient. I have to, try my best to get to know my patient, build a rapport with my patient, and, just care for my patient without feeling, like I'm rushing the patient and just being in their room for like less than 5 minutes and then moving on to my next patient. Like that, your patient has to feel that connection with you. That patient has to feel that caring connection with you. So, before becoming a nurse, make sure that you're in it for the right reasons and not just for the money per se. Make sure that it's really in your heart that, I really want to help people get better. I really want to make a difference or make an impact in people's lives. Also with becoming a nurse, you want to keep in mind that like it all goes back to your patient trusting in you. So if there's like an order that you see that doesn't best fit your patient, then feel free to speak up on behalf of your patient. Feel free to advocate for your patient. Like, hey, I saw this order for so-and-so. I don't think this order is appropriate to carry out for this patient because this is what's going on with the patient and this order may hinder the patient's care. Don't be afraid to speak out, especially to the doctors. Us being nurses, especially if you're a new nurse, you may be, timid. You may be, uncomfortable, to speak out and have conversations with these doctors. And, it's expected as a new nurse, but you have to advocate for your patients the best way you can. Like, speak out for your patients. Like, speak up for your patients, especially if you go into your patient's room and they're like, hey, I've been telling the doctor this is going on with me, and they're just going around it. They're not really treating what's going on with me. Then that's your responsibility as a nurse to be like, okay, I'm going to contact the doctor and just, speak more in depth about how you're feeling, and then doctor 9 times out of 10 will listen and, work with you to make sure your patient gets the best care they need. These doctors, they are willing to work with nurses to best treat their patients. Like, they will ask you as the nurse, like, what do you recommend we do for this patient? And, gives you the opportunity to, like I said, advocate for your patient, speak on your patient's behalf, so that they do receive the best care while they are in the hospital. Another thing I want to mention is that nursing school does not completely prepare you to become a nurse. I didn't feel like I was an actual nurse until I started practicing in my field. I started working in the hospital on my med-surg unit, hands-on experience, real life patients, real life doctors, like, that's when I felt like I was an actual nurse, is when I was actually placed in that setting. So nursing school, in my opinion, does not completely prepare you to be a nurse. They just teach you, nursing school just teaches you the basics, the foundation, of being a nurse, from the anatomy to the disease processes, for you to build on when you are actually placed in the clinical setting, the nursing facility, and you start practicing on your own. So with that being said, my advice on that would be to keep the knowledge that you learn in nursing school. Of course, keep the knowledge that you learn in nursing school, but build upon that when you are placed in your nursing field, to grow and become an excellent nurse through practicing in your field. Before becoming a nurse, try to make sure that it is the right profession for you. Everybody can't be a nurse. Everybody cannot be a nurse. Like, it's just a fact, everybody cannot be a nurse. Everybody does not have that caring tendency, that compassion to care for others. People don't have the best patience, because you need to have a lot of patience to be able to deal with human beings, in my opinion. Everyone is not built like that. So make sure it is the right profession for you before you jump into being a nurse. Make sure you do your research and know what is involved in becoming a nurse. People who go through nursing school, pass the whole nursing program, graduate, go into the field, and realize, this is not what I want to do. This is not what I signed up for. I did not sign up to, deal with patients who have dementia. I didn't sign up to deal with psych patients. I didn't sign up to clean up patients when they have a bowel movement. I didn't sign up for patients who, are just ill and they're sick, they need help. There are people who are not able to handle that when they are actually in the nursing profession, practicing in their field. So before you go through the whole schooling of nursing, make sure you've done your research. Make sure you've made the best out of your clinical experience to be sure that this is what I want to do. Because going into it, finishing, and now it's time for you to actually practice, and you turn back and say it's not what you want to do, in my opinion, it's a waste of time. It's a waste of energy. So just make sure you are signing up to be a nurse for the right reasons. For the right reasons, y'all. Like, being a nurse, you have to be in it for the right reasons. So as I said, I would recommend that you do your research and understand nursing as a whole. Don't just be in it for the money. Don't just be in it for the money. Do your research and make sure that you're in it because you truly want to help people get better and you truly want to care for people. Make sure you have those qualities that come with nursing, such as caring, being compassionate, empathetic, patient, being able to advocate, being outspoken, communicating effectively. All of those qualities come with being a great nurse. So another thing I want to talk about, and I think this is the last thing I want to mention, is before becoming a nurse, you know, feel free to shadow a nurse. Feel free to go into the nursing field and see if you can shadow a nurse at a hospital. That's a good way of knowing whether or not you can see yourself as a nurse. If you can see yourself becoming a nurse by just simply going to shadow a nurse and observing them, observing the nurse and what he or she does. And then you can just like picture yourself in their shoes and be like, can I do this job? Is this for me? It can even open your eyes to like what nursing is really about. So I would definitely recommend, if you're trying to consider whether or not you should become a nurse, go ahead and shadow a nurse. And if you know what specialty you want to get into right away, shadow a OB nurse, shadow a labor and delivery nurse, shadow a med-surg nurse, psych nurse, whatever nurse you think you want to be. Go ahead and shadow that nurse and see if you can see yourself being that actual nurse when the time comes. I believe that will be very helpful in you making your decision as to whether or not you want to become a registered nurse. So I am gonna go ahead and conclude this video. I hope I gave you enough tips for you to follow to decide whether or not you want to become a registered nurse, or, you know, just things for you to think about before you jump into the nursing profession. Just so that you will not make the mistake of jumping into the profession and jumping back out, because you then later on realize this is not for me. So I hope I gave you enough reasons to really do your research and think about whether or not you should become a nurse. So if you found this video helpful, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Thank you all so much for watching this video. I'll see you all in my next video. Bye, guys.